quite a lot, and he attacked the planned equality legislation, saying it actually violates the natural law upon which the equality of human beings is grounded. That's basically his cunning way of trying to say being gay is unnatural, as though nobody would ever see through that. And anyway, surely the natural order of things favours homosexuals over the clergy, because everyone knows that queens are actually higher than bishops, higher than rooks, higher than pawns. But then again, the Pope is famously a former member of the Hitler Youth, so no wonder he's so fond of orders. We're now entering an election campaign, and all the party leaders are trying to come up with some fantastic policies of how to win over the electorate, and we think David Cameron had a real guaranteed vote winner in this. The Tories apparently are pledged to flood Britain with African homosexual asylum seekers. That was what the BNP said, sorry, that this is what he was going to do. He's going to flood Britain with African homosexuals. And that what he actually did say, which was a far more sensible promise, was that homosexuals should be allowed to stay in Britain if their life would be in danger if they were sent home. And David Cameron also called for an investigation into the end of the blood services ban on homosexuals giving blood, which again the BNP are worried about. Presumably they're scared they'll get a transfusion of gay blood and they'll start, you know, just mincing around with blood type, positive. Yes. David Cameron did an interview with Attitude magazine, a gay magazine this month. It was it's fucking hilarious though, isn't it? Day 43 Westminster looking for gay love. Famous fucking piss. And they put some quite hard-hitting questions to him, but as typical of a politician, he really wriggled out of it. They asked him, do you actually know, do you have any friends that are openly gay? And this was his reply, openly gay? I suppose friends I made particularly after I left university. Since then I've had quite a lot of gay friends actually. It's difficult to know sometimes. Well, Mr. Cameron, if it's difficult to know, they're clearly not your friends, otherwise there is a way of telling. The next thing they asked is, they said, do you think that your party has a problem with homophobia in its ranks? And he replied that yes, that there always are going to be homophobes in the Conservative Party because they've got people of strong religious faith. And just to finish his argument, he goes, but Labour's got some too! Which was a very mature answer. And he said what they'll do is they'll target people and recruit them. And he said that Baroness Wolsey, who is in the House of Lords, would have sent an incredibly positive young message to Muslim girls and Muslim women all over Britain. He then went on to say many of them have been told that public life and public service was not for them. By seeing her, she would have blown the hijab off them. Our next Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen.
Apparently there's a racist KFC ad, and it shows a white bloke, Aussie bloke, placating a bunch of West Indian cricket fans with a bucket of KFC chicken.
Need a tip when you're stuck in an awkward situation?
Too easy. KFC's crowd pleaser. A huge variety of delicious chicken and plenty of tasty sides.
Now, I don't know about you, but I find this absolutely repulsive, disgusting, intolerable, and just plain ignorant, because you know what they put in that chicken? Anyway, personally, you know, I find this okay, you know, then again, because it wasn't like there was an ad featuring a bunch of, let's say, Koreans with the knives and forks at Crufts.
In today's news, a Hindu grandfather has won the right to be cremated on a traditional open-air funeral pyre in Britain.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. I did not know that was coming. And as usual, people
people are up in arms about this, and they're having a lot of complaints, and people going, how nuts is it to have, you know, humans burnt out? It's not, that's not what it is. It's just asking for a sort of like a hole in the roof of the place where he's going to be cremated. So the Daily Mail, to sort of stir up feeling on the issue, decided they were going to illustrate this story with this small design change. It's like, honestly. And this woman wrote in, she was very angry about this. She wrote, "It's about time the Indigenous people stood up for their own human rights," says Avril. She's all the way in Canada. And finally, the brave Anon writes, "So, if we decide to bury our loved ones in the back garden because we decide on a humanist funeral, we should be within the law. Somehow, I don't think so." Actually, you probably would be. All you need is just to fill in a form. Although the guidelines say it's advisable to inform the police before digging a grave, as it might arouse the suspicion of the public. No shit, Sherlock. I don't know if you saw this story a few weeks ago, but the producers of the American movie Couples Retreat made a very subtle change to their posters between the American market and the British market. Here's the American version, and here's the UK one. The black people disappeared. They were just wiped out in an instant. Nick Griffin's phoning them right now going, "How did you do that?" Now, just for a joke, we decided we were going to take some other Hollywood posters featuring prominent black actors, and we were going to remove them. To be honest, we couldn't find that many. Yeah, so what we've done, right, is we've got this poster, and we've taken out the white people. Here's Star Wars. And the next one is Casablanca, which, don't forget, was actually set in Africa. And Jaws. We had to remove him, the shark, because he's a great white. Next thing that we found was it was about the US Army, and they're thinking of repealing legislation to allow gays to serve in the armed forces, which kind of amazes me. Like, in a world where we've got iPhones and Sky HD and Sky Plus and all that, there are actually countries where gay people cannot willingly go and fight in the armed forces. And the official policy in the US at the moment is don't ask, don't tell, which is like something a 12-year-old would say. It's like the 12-year-old's obviously in charge of the US Army. That's their official policy, and there's probably a few others they have, like girls have the lurgy, whoever smelt it dealt it, and he who denied it supplied it, and the one that rhymed it probably farted. And what annoys me about it most of all is that the don't ask, don't tell, is that it's even a discussion, that there's a debate against it. And there was like, they actually had one, and there was two sides to the argument, and one was, look, on one hand, changes in social attitudes make exclusion and discrimination abhorrent and contrary to the very principles upon which the United States were founded. And a soldier's sexuality is irrelevant in the context of the workplace, and indeed it would be absurd to bar like lawyers, doctors, teachers, or any individual from their work just because of who they love. And then the other side just went poofs.
I was walking through Bermondsey, and actually on the lamppost there was a sticker, and the sticker said, "Sink or swim with the BNP. Sink or swim with the BNP." And I'm thinking, isn't that nice of the BNP to offer swimming lessons? You know, I mean, I don't swim, and you know, a lot of black people don't swim, and I thought I'm quite interested. I thought I'd go down to swimming baths and just check out these BNP swimming lessons, and they're easy to spot. The BNP swimmers, they've got the inflatable Nazi armband on, and doing this really difficult stroke with the one arm, just up like that. And I went up to them and I said, "Look, can you tell me where the shower block is?" And they completely denied that the shower block ever existed.
Today is the 20th anniversary since Nelson Mandela was released from prison, and I got an opportunity to work in South Africa last year, and I was sort of driving around Soweto, and the comics were just speaking to me, and they were telling me what it was like growing up there during apartheid. And I sort of went down, they showed me the street. There's a very famous street in Soweto. Oh, those are the electricity generators. And they were like a symbol because they had those things there, and black people weren't actually allowed any electricity. But things have improved in South Africa. Like, for instance, the Mail and the Guardian coexist as one, which is progress. There are some horrible remnants of the past still around there. They've still got Woolworths out there. I went down to Cape Town as well, and I went to the beach and I was sort of filming on this beach, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I got my camera out because of this huge mist that had descended. So I was doing all the filming, but I felt quite conscious that pre-94 I would not have been allowed on that beach because there was all these signs, like at intermittent points along the beach, like this, said white persons only. And there's quite a few of those signs still around South Africa, and sometimes they've tried to scratch them out and they can't. So what they've done is they've written underneath them, lest we forget, and the thinking behind that is that if you forget about the past, then it can happen again. And I think it is quite important to remember the past.
It's the sound of the underground. I don't even know the words to my own song, right? Oh, don't, I feel proper pissed. Let's spray some of that, it'll be a chuff. Lovely. Oh, I'm having some of that. What is that? Oh, maybe put a bit of that on my hands. No, actually, do you know what? I want a lollipop.
You must pay for the lollipop. You cannot just take the lollipop.
Just a lollipop.
You have to pay for the lollipop.
Listen, I'm in a chart-topping girl band. If I want this Haribo, I'm having it.
You cannot take the Haribo.
I'm having it. If I
You
want
cannot have the Haribo.
If I want your cheap pound shop shit, I'm having it.
You cannot just take it like that. You must pay for it.
I can tell you what, I like me. I'm in a chart-topping girl band.
It doesn't matter what band
dirty
you are
rock
in.
bitch, right?
I'm not a rock
Let's do